Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to this week's coaching episode of the Rise of the Trades podcast, where we help trades and construction business owners to skyrocket leads, explode net profits without having to graft 60 hours a week and becoming that busy fool. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to find your why and your purpose and get clarity of what you actually want to get out of your business and your life. But before we go there, I'd just like to remind you that the doors for you to join my next Inner Circle marketing and business coaching program are opening in 2 weeks' time. And what I'm doing is I'm presenting a live Zoom to invite everybody onto that Zoom so I can explain in a wanna what the Inner Circle is, how it all works, and the results that you will be expected to get on joining this program. If you want to join that Zoom, please click the link in and around the show notes of this description of this episode and register for this powerful Zoom session. Now, let's transition over to this week's coaching episode. I first of all want to give a shout out to one of our Growth Club members who's actually inspired me to record this episode. So therefore I'm going to dedicate this episode to him, but also this episode is relevant to every single tradesman and woman that are running their business and grinding it out every single day. You see, Dan Hollins, who's one of our Growth Club members, has got a plumbing and heating company based in Stoke-on-Trent. And 2 days ago, he posted into our Growth Club asking a question around what does he do now he's got his business to a point where it's making money and freeing up his time and he feels a little bit lost. Because his business is changing, his life's changing, and therefore it's left him with a little bit of a void. Now, some people can only dream of getting the business to that point, but nevertheless, things have started to change in Dan's business. And he's asking in our Growth Club, what do I do? I'm not used to this newfound time and money, and I'm a little bit stuck. So he put the post in, asking for people to contribute back to tell him what they think he needs to do next. And as I'm reading the post, it's great to see loads of our Growth Club members commenting on his post and giving their advice. But as I'm reading their advice, which is all relevant, I'm looking at it thinking, but you're all missing the point. And due to that fact, I'm thinking, I need to record this episode because it is that important that I share what I'm going to share with you in this episode today. So Dan, thank you for putting that post in because that's inspired me to share this that's going to help thousands of other people across the world. Now, let me just give you a little bit of context around what it is that Dan has posted. Dan joined our Growth Club 9 weeks ago. And inside the post, he's put this, that historically his back has always been against the wall when it comes to time and money and freedom within his business. But since joining the Growth Club 9 weeks ago, he's implemented some of the strategies that we teach. One of them being he's implemented systems into his business. So he's brought in ServiceMate. ServiceMate is now systemizing and automating his entire running of his business. He's then thought of the low-value tasks that we teach, and we have to get rid of all these low-value tasks such as answering the phone, dealing with emails, dealing with customer inquiries and leads. And what he's now done is what we suggest, which is outsourcing that to a virtual assistant, which is now done. Then he downloaded our pricing and profit calculator and worked out his hourly rate and the numbers in his business, realised he wasn't charging enough, and therefore he's put his prices up. Now, all this lot has contributed to Dan making more profit than he's ever made before, systemising and automating his business and then outsourcing those systems to a VA, freeing up all his time. So now all of a sudden, within 9 weeks, he's got his business to a point where it's running well, he's making money, and he's got all this time back. And then he's saying, I'm at a loss. I'm not used to this. He's used to working ridiculous hours. He's programmed himself to work that way. And now all of a sudden, he's got money in the bank and he's got some time freedom. And as he says in his post, he's got 3 children. So now he's got more time to spend with his family, but he feels at a bit of a loss and he feels he's at a bit of a crossroads because he's not used to all of this. And inside the Growth Club, he's saying, what do I do? I'm not used to it. What do you suggest that I do to get some clarity and a bit of purpose behind? What's my next move? Where do I go from here? And that's what he's struggling with. And I'm reading it and I'm thinking, I know exactly what you need to do, Dan, because I've been in this position. I've coached thousands of other tradesmen and women who's been in this position. I know exactly what you need to do. But rather than me going onto his post to tell him what to do, I'm thinking everybody needs to know this. So I've messaged Dan saying, Dan, thank you for your post. You've influenced me to record the podcast. I'm doing it and it's going out on Wednesday morning at 7:00. And that is this exact episode. Now, throughout this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you some other podcasts and giving you the podcast numbers. So at the end of this podcast, I want you to go and listen to the ones I'm going to suggest because they're all going to tie in to the strategy that I'm going to share with you right now. So, you know how these work. Grab your notepads, grab your pens, and let's get stuck in. Running a business, whatever stage of your business journey you're on, can sometimes feel like the fucking toughest job in the world. I mean, come on. You're doing absolutely everything in your business. You're wearing all these different hats to keep all these plates spinning. And over time, it becomes hard work. 1 minute you're doing your marketing, then you're doing your surveying, then you're doing your pricing, then you're ordering materials, then you're organising labour, then you're sorting customers out, then you've got to go and pick materials up, then you've got to look at numbers in your business, then you've got to be working on the business. You've got all these plates spinning. And what we sometimes find ourselves doing is creating bad habits without actually realising we're creating bad habits. For example, we know that working till 10 o'clock at night, doing as pricing, as paperwork, and as estimating whatever we're doing, whilst ignoring our family and our kids, is the wrong thing to do. We know that working 6-7 days a week is the wrong thing to do, but we do it and we sacrifice it to build a better quality of life for us and our families, or that's what we think. But in the process of doing all this stuff, and winging it without any strategies, these bad habits start to creep in. And what you end up tending to find is running a business the way in which I've just described then becomes the norm. And sometimes you can even feel guilty. Do you ever get that feeling of guilt when you take a bit of time out of your business knowing you've got a to-do list as long as your arm, but you take time out of your business for whatever reason, you almost feel guilty that you're not working in your business. And that's because you've programmed yourself over a period of time, and this could be months, certainly over years, if that's the way you're working. You program yourself to work and act and behave a certain way inside your business. And the more we start to grow the business, in other words, the more work we take on, the more staff we bring in, the more jobs we run, the more customers we have, the more plates we have spinning without the right strategies in place. All we're actually doing here is programming ourselves to become what I call that ultimate busy fool. And that's exactly where I was in my joinery and building company for 12 long hard fucking years. I programmed myself to work and behave and act in that way. And every day for me seems as though I were on a treadmill. It's like every day is Groundhog Day. I'm getting up, I'm grinding it out, I'm doing the jobs, I'm dealing with the team, I'm dealing with the customers, I'm just trying to stay afloat and breathe. And then when I weren't working weekends, it was like, I just want to get to Friday. I want to get to Friday so I can have a breather over weekend. But then the rat race started again on a Monday morning. And I used to get up on a Monday morning and my guts used to be churning because I was falling out of love with my business. I didn't want to graft in my business like I was doing again, but I created this monster and it was out of control. Come on, you know where I'm going with this. We program ourselves to act and behave in a certain way. And here's the dangerous thing that we don't realise is at play whilst we're doing this. When we're on that hamster wheel grinding it out, we start to lose sense of all clarity of what we're doing, the direction we're taking our business in, the direction we're taking our lives in. And we start to lose all sense of why are we doing what we're doing? What is the purpose and what is the point of me sacrificing all this time, sweat, blood, money and investment into this business? What is it all for? What is it actually to give me? Because I've had my head down that much, grinding it out on this treadmill and this hamster wheel, that I've actually lost all sense of why and purpose. And then if you're anything like me, 12 long, hard years down the line, I stop and I go, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm working more hours than everybody else. I've got more commitments and sacrifice because of my team and my subbies. I've got officers, I've got vans, I've got customers, I've got marketing spend going through roof. Craig, what are you doing? Stop for 5 minutes. Stop them plates from spinning and get some clarity. Because what I were doing is I were going 100 mile an hour in one direction for years, when in actual fact, if I'd have stopped to realign the clarity and the vision, realign why I'm doing what I'm doing and what the purpose behind it all is, I'd have realised that for years, I've been going 100 mile an hour in the wrong direction. I've been taking myself further away from my goals than I were getting closer to them. And that's all because I didn't realign where I was at certain key stages. And the danger is, with you not realigning where you're at and refocusing on what it's all about and why you're doing it, if you don't do that, you'll end up on that same trajectory and path as what I was on, where we are going 100 mile an hour, we're putting the effort in, but we're going backwards, not forwards. Now remember, as you grow as a business person and your business starts to grow, everything starts to morph. And what I mean by this is, you are not the same person today as you were when you first set up your business. When you first set up your business, you were naive, you were a bit green, and you didn't really know what you were doing. You might still not know what you're doing now some years later. However, you have got experience and you have got some wool on your back. So you personally, you have grown, you have morphed. And as you start to grow as a business person and you start to morph, then what starts to happen? That change starts to come into your business and your business starts to change and your business starts to morph as you do. But what path are you taking all this down? Because if you are working those long, hard hours And sometimes you do feel like you want to throw in the towel and just pack it all in because it all seems a bit too much for you. You've lost all sense of clarity and direction of where you're going. The flip side of that, in Dan's case, is he's been there, he's put systems in place, he's put his prices up, he's brought a VA in, and that growth and morphing himself and his business has brought him to a point now where he's not thinking of throwing in the towel. He's thinking of, well, what do I do next? Either way, you are growing. And if you are growing, but your plan and the future vision isn't growing in the right direction, then you're going to feel like you're on the hamster wheel 24/7. So what I'm going to ask you and Dan to do is this. I want you to take a day out of your business completely and utterly for you. I want you to switch your phones off, all distractions off, and go and find a quiet place where nobody can bother you. And you're going to invest that full day into recreating the vision of where your business is going. Stop them plates from spinning. Get off that hamster wheel. Free up some headspace. Switch all distractions off and sit down and ask yourself the following questions. Write these down. What do I actually want my life and my lifestyle to look like? And what I mean by this is, your business is just a vehicle that provides you with a financial gain and time freedom. With that financial reward and the time that your business gives you, that then needs investing into your life. So what do you want your life to look like? Because for some of you, you'll not want it to be where you're at right now, but you've got no clarity of what the future vision of your life and your family and what you're going to do moving forward looks like because you're too knee deep in the rat race. Your business is just going to give you a financial reward, and that financial reward is going to determine and dictate your lifestyle moving forward. So if you're not earning the money that you want to earn now, you're not going to get the lifestyle that you feel as though you and your family deserve. If you're working stupid hours and you're constantly under pressure, your business is not going to give you the time freedom and the headspace to enjoy investing time into your family, your loved ones, your friends and your hobbies, is it? But what does your life look like when it's built and it's done and it's finished and you've got the ultimate perfect life for you and your family? I want you to create what that life looks like. Because ultimately, what you're doing in your business is to provide that lifestyle for you and your family. But for some of you, you're miles off it. But you're miles off it because you've never took the time to sit down and work out what does that look like. So I want you to go and listen to episode number 43. Because in episode 43, I teach you how to build a business that funds your dream lifestyle without you falling into debt and burning out. And I give you the full-blown strategy. It's 87 minutes of pure gold. Oh, hang on a minute. There's no point in building a business and being on an hamster wheel because that's never going to give us what we want. What we need to do is build our lifestyle, cost it out, have a look at what that looks like, and then build the business to give us the lifestyle. So we've got clarity on where we're going from a life point of view, from a family point of view. How many people have done that? Probably not many. So I want Dan and everybody else to listen to episode number 43 at the end of this episode. Then once we've mapped that out, I want you to take time within that day that you're investing into you to then think about your business and the direction in which it's going in. So for Dan, he's at a point now where he's got this time back. Amazing. Most business owners could only dream of being in that position where he's making more money and working less hours. Most people want to be at that point. But again, this has brought Dan to that point in his business where I need to realign where I'm going. I need to realign the clarity and the plan of what happens next. And if Dan just continues to wing it and make it up as he goes along, the likelihood is he's going to make the wrong decision. Or you might be on the hamster wheel and your head is just full of shit and full of stuff that needs to be done. Again, stopping, taking time out, and then working out what your 12-month future vision is for your business. So I want you to sit down and I want you to listen to episode number 35, because in episode number 35, I teach you how to create a 12-month business plan and create your business vision to grow your business over this next 12 months. And I take you through a series of different questions and challenge you on every single area and element within your business so we can create that plan, create that clarity and that vision of where you're going over the next 12 months. Now listen, we could do a 5-year plan. We can do a 10-year plan. But what's the point of doing a 5-year plan if we can't even nail the first 12 months? So to get clarity on where you're going in your business, who's your target market? What does your marketing need to look like? What systems do you need to bring into your business? How are you going to get your hours back in your business? What team do you need to get rid of? What team do you need to bring into your business to help it to scale? What numbers do you need to understand in your business over the next 12 months to get you from where you are now to where you want to be? I'm talking about ultimate clarity. And I'm still shocked at the amount of businesses that come to me and I'll say, okay, so what's the future vision of your business over the next 12 months? Have you got a business plan? No. Have you got a 90-day plan? No. Well, where do you want to be? And they sit there and they go, and they've got to think. They've got to think about where they want the business to be in 12 months. I mean, come on, this is easy, isn't it? We just need to work out and formulate what that looks like as a vision. And then what we need to do is we need to put that into a plan. Now, think about it. If you just took a single day out of your business, and there'll be some of you going, I can't afford to take a day out of my business because I'm not earning. There'll be others going, I ain't got time because I'm so busy. Well, this is the whole point. If you're chasing money and trading time for money, that's got to stop. And how it stops is building clarity of what your vision for yourself and your family wants to be. And then when we know what that is, we then build the business to suit that vision. But most people don't know what they want in life, and most people haven't even got a 12-month business plan. You've got to get that clarity. So listen to those 2 episodes and then get clarity of where you're heading. Now, only once you've got that clarity and that vision, are we then going to move over to what I consider to be one of the most important areas of personal development and business. And that is identifying your why and your purpose. Now, just hear me out on this. When I first started doing this about 18, probably almost 19 years ago now, I was told by my business coach back then, Craig, to get some clarity of what's happening, I want you to write down what your why is and why you're doing this in your business and what is the purpose behind it. And I'm like, for goodness sake, what an absolute pile of nonsense. Surely this is only for corporate side and big corporate companies that talk about why and purpose. And he's like, no. He's like, hang on a minute. Why did you set up your business in the first place? And I said, well, I personally set up my business in the first place because I couldn't stand being told what to do. I knew from an early age I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to challenge myself and reach my full potential. I wanted to make more money than I would do being employed. And I wanted to spend that money on and with my family and let them not have to struggle like I did as a kid growing up. I didn't want them to have them struggles. So that was the why I set my business up. And then my coach said to me, right, okay, so how many years ago was that then, Craig? And I'm like, well, that was 12 years ago when I set up my business. He's like, okay, so what's your why now? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, that's the why when you first set up your business on day one. In them early stages of your business, that's what you set your business up to do. You've done that, so what's next? And I'm like, and I couldn't give him an answer. And he's like, okay, so you don't really know what your why is now, but what about the purpose? What's the purpose behind it? What was the purpose behind it on day one? The purpose behind setting up the business. I said, well, really, I think the ultimate purpose for me was I wanted to become a multimillionaire. I wanted massive offices. I wanted hundreds of members of staff. And I wanted to be the number one, like, building company in the whole of the north of England. That was the purpose behind me doing it all. And he's like, well, what's your purpose now? Is that what you still want? And I was like, well, no, I couldn't think of anything worse. He's like, right. So your why you set your business up and the purpose behind doing it in the first place has changed over this 12 years. Would that be right? And I'm like, well, yeah, when you say it like that. He says, so how many times over this 12 years have you actually stopped to realign, why am I doing what I'm doing and what's the purpose behind it? He said, because over the years, the why changes and the purpose changes. But if you don't realign it with your new why and purpose and your new vision and your new clarity of where you're going in your business, you're still doing everything as though you were on day one. And when he said it to me like that, I'm like, do you know what? I get it. I'd never actually stopped and locked myself away and asked myself, why am I doing all this? What's the point? What's the purpose of me putting myself and my family through all this heartache and pain of building and growing a business? What is it? Because I wasn't loaded at that time. I hadn't got time freedom at that time. I'd not built a better quality of life for my family at that time. I'd not got the big multi-million-pound business at that time. Are you with me? Everything I'd been doing, I'd not achieved it. So it was time for me to go, okay, I get it. I'm going to realign my why and my purpose with my new vision and clarity and regroup so I know exactly where I'm heading. Listen, you know I'm always honest and transparent on these episodes and I give you everything. So let me just share this for you, right? Last month on my inner circle, we went through this entire exercise, right, where we went through the vision of the business, the 12-month vision. We realigned the why and the purpose. And I said to all my inner circle members, I said, listen, let me be honest with you and share with you what my new why and my new vision is now. Because I realign it all the time. And my new why and my new purpose of what I do is not money driven anymore, right? And when I say what I'm going to say now, I don't want to come across as being a dick or Billy Big Balls or anything like that. It's not. But I've now achieved everything that I wanted to achieve in my business and my life up to date. I'm 55 years old now, right? I became a millionaire. I've done it. I've got the money. I've got the house. I've got the cars. I've got all the materialistic stuff. I've built the business. I've employed staff. I'm now helping thousands of other tradesmen and women to grow their business because that's part of my why and my purpose now, to help as many people as I can to not make the same mistakes as me. But when I hit 50 years old, something happened and changed inside me that I weren't expecting. And again, I don't want this to be morbid and I don't want to come across as being negative here, but I have to be honest with you. And when I hit 50, I'm like, fucking hell, Craig, where's your life gone? 50 is like a big milestone for anyone. Where's your life gone? look at all them wasted years where you were grafting and you sweated blood and you had all that worry and all that stress. Were it really all worth all that? And I'm sat there and I'm thinking, do you know what? I need to realign my purpose and my why, because I'd achieved everything. So at 50-year-old, I wrote down my new why, my new purpose, and that changes every year. So what I told my inner circle members literally last month is this is it. This is why I do what I do, my purpose now. Number one, I want longevity. For me, the word is longevity. I'm 55 and I'm thinking, do you know what? I might have got 25, 30 years left in me, Craig Wilkinson, before I exit and leave this planet. And I'm like, fucking hell. When you say it like that, that's not a long time. And then I'm thinking, over this next 25, 30 years, let's face it and be honest, your health's not going to get any better. You're going to be getting older. Your body's going to start to pack up and start to deteriorate. It's only going to go downhill from this point. So at 50-year-old, I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to be the fittest, the healthiest person that I can actually be through the rest of my life. So I've got longevity. I've got to give myself as much time on this planet as I can to see all my kids grow up and get married and have families, to spend time with my grandkids like I do now. I've got 3 wonderful grandkids that I spend time with and I've got a great relationship with them. I want to see my days out. I want to be able to influence and educate and help all of my family moving forward. But I can't do that if I'm not looking after myself to give myself as much chance as I can as longevity. So at 50, everything changed. Yes, I joined the gym, which I'd done a million times before, but I took it more serious. I joined the gym. I set myself a goal of doing a photo shoot. 2 years ago, I did a photo shoot. 53-year-old, I'm ripped. I've got a 6-pack at 55 now. I committed to stopping drinking alcohol, which I never thought I'd ever do, ever. Because I love going out, I love having a pint, I love going at match, I love with my mates, do you know what I mean? I loved it. But Boxing Day coming up, I will be 3 years without a drop of alcohol and that poison touching my body. Right? I spend time with my kids. I spend time with my grandkids because my purpose has changed. I want longevity. That's what I need. So my purpose in life is changing. And why I'm doing what I'm doing is I've got enough money. I don't need any more money. I've got a great lifestyle. But what I'm doing now is I'm building generational wealth. In other words, what I'm doing now and all my businesses are building generational wealth for my kids and my grandkids and no doubt my great-grandkids further down the line. So my why and purpose is I don't want a fucking business that employs 200 members of staff and have 60, 70 vans on road. That's just too much hassle. I've got very good businesses that make me money, that free up my time, but all I want to do is stay on this planet for as long as I can, and I want to build generational wealth and leave a legacy for my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, and that is it. Now, if you would have asked me this in my 40s, I'd have still been chasing everything. But because of life and because of progression and growth in me as an individual in my businesses, my why, my purpose, it's morphing, it's changing. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm realigning it all the time. Or you. And the likelihood is you're not. You've still got the same why and they're still got the same purpose as what you did on day one. Well, things have changed. So that needs to realign with the vision that you've just created. So in the next chapter, I'm going to be sharing with you the strategy that I've just developed. It's so simple. And it's just something that I've put together myself over years that works. And I want to share it with you because this is how I get the purpose and the why out of my head and create clarity of what I want moving forward and the purpose and the future vision of my business and my life. Now, I've got myself into a very fortunate position in the fact that I can go on holiday when I want, wherever I want, and all the years I've sacrificed where I couldn't afford to go on holiday, or I didn't go on holiday because I didn't leave my business because it would be fucking chaos when I came back, I make up for lost time. So I'm fortunate, me and my family, we go on holiday as often as we can. But I have a little rule with myself, and that is every single time you go away, Craig, when you're chilled out and you're round pool, and my kids are older now, but even when they were a bit younger, when the kids were younger, they were playing in pool, or whether they're off doing football or tennis or whatever they do now when they go on holiday. And my wife, Sarah, she's laid at the side of me and she's chilled out and she's got a drink in her hand. In that moment where I'm reflecting on being unbelievably grateful for the position that I'm now in, I get my notepad and pen out. I don't do it on digital. I don't do it on my phone or an iPad. I get a notepad and pen out. And here's what I do. I write down 9 things. I'm going to share with you what these 9 things are. And these 9 things then form my new why and my new purpose. And the reason why I do it when I go away is, number one, everybody's chilled out at that point and I've got loads of headspace. But because I'm fortunate to go on holiday quite often, it means that I have to realign my why and purpose probably 4 or 5 times a year. That's how often I do it. Now, you might be in a position where you can afford to go on holiday for 2 weeks, maybe summer holidays with your kids, right? Do it every year when you go on holiday. For 2 weeks in summer, realign it every time you're on holiday when you've got that peace and that headspace. If you can afford to go twice a year, do it twice a year. But I always do it when I'm on holiday. And I get my notepad and I get my pen out, and this is what I want you to write down. Write down these exact things. I write down 3 things on why I do what I do for me. Not for anybody else. Not for my wife, not for my family, not for my grandkids, not for my members, not for you, for me. And I'm selfish for once. And I'll write down, right, why do you do, Craig, what you do for you? Nobody else. And when we were doing this last month on In a Circle, I knew what were coming. I'm sat there looking at them all on Zoom. And they've all got like blank expressions on the face. And then I said to them, you're struggling with this, aren't you? And they were like, yeah, we're all struggling because we sacrifice so much for other people, don't we? We sacrifice so much for us family, as employees, as subcontractors, as customers, as friends. Everybody wants a piece of us. So we sacrifice it for everyone else. And we then take our foot off the pedal. We're looking after ourselves. We're keeping ourselves fit and healthy, perhaps. We're packing as hobbies in pursuit of all this. And then all of a sudden, what are we left with? Probably not a lot. So I write down 3 things on why I do what I do for me, Craig Wilkinson, and nobody else. Then what I do, write this down. Then what I do is I write down 3 things on why I do what I do for my family and my loved ones. Why do I do what I do for my family and my loved ones? Now this one, I'm looking at everybody on Zoom, on it in a circle, and now they're writing. Because we can always find it easier to write down why we do things for us family, right? So then I write 3 things down on why I do it for them. And I've just shared with you now, haven't I? One of them, generational wealth, is why I do what I do for my family. Time freedom is why I do what I do for my family, right? So I write them down. And then the third one, again, that always catches people out, is I write 3 things down on why I do what I do for others, for other people. And again, I'm looking at Zoom now and having them scribble down everything that they want, the 3 things for the family. I come to this question: why do you do what you do for others? And again, blank expressions. Because in life, what I've learned over years is, if you keep everything to yourself and you don't share what your strategies are working in your business with anybody else, and you don't share all your secret sauce, and you don't want to tell everybody what's working well because you're scared they're going to pinch it and nick it, it's like, come on, life doesn't work like that. That's just a crazy mindset to have. So when I started thinking, I understand that charity does begin at home for us all, but when I understood that, hang on, I have got knowledge, I have got inspiration, I have got a bit of time, I have got a bit of money, I have got a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this. What could I do to help other people? What is my why? What is my purpose behind me doing this free podcast? I mean, think about it. Everything I'm doing now, this is episode 89. 89, probably 90-minute on average podcasts that I record that take me 8 hours to record them, edit them, get them live, get the emails written, get the social media posts done, get them uploaded to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube. It takes 8 hours. Why do I do this? I don't have to do it. I don't do it because I need the money, because it's free. I don't do it for that. I do it because I genuinely want to help other people in our industry not make the same mistakes as me. Why did I manage and coach and spend 10 years with my daughter's football team from under 8s to under 18s? Why did I do that? Why did I take a group of girls who had nothing, couldn't even kick a ball at 8-year-old, and turn them into an under 18s championship winning side that went undefeated all season, and then took them to Spain and we won Barcelona Cup? Why did I commit all that time and effort to doing that? Training in middle of winter, freezing cold, fucking snow, hail, rain. Why did I do it? Because I got something to give to other people. So I write down 3 things on what I do and why I do it and what's the purpose behind it for others. And now I end up with a list of 9 things. 3 of why I do what I do for me, 3 of why I do what I do for my family, 3 of why I do what I do for others. And then what I do with those 9 points is I'll then write it up into a statement or a number of paragraphs of what that means to me. And if I were to show you my why, that's pinned in the middle of my vision board, by the way, if I were to show you my why and you were to read it, it might not make sense to you, but to me, it makes total sense. And that then becomes my why and my purpose behind everything that I do. Because I know why I'm doing it for me, I know why I'm doing it for my family, and I know why I'm contributing and helping and doing it for other people. And once I've written that out in a statement that I print off, type it up, I print it off, I've got a massive 8-foot by 4-foot corkboard in my office. And what I've got on my corkboard is I've got my 9 business and life goals that are pinned up around that corkboard. Then I'll take my 12-month business plan and vision and clarity that I've created, and I also put that onto my corkboard. Now, the reason why I do this is I call this a vision board. Because if you think about it, that board then is everything that I need to do to achieve my goals. So in other words, I look at my why and I look at my purpose and I know exactly what that is, crystal clear clarity. I then look at my business plan that I've pinned up on that corkboard and I think, right, all I need to do to achieve that why and purpose is to make sure that that 12-month business plan gets actioned and I complete everything on it. And if I complete everything on that business plan, these 9 life and business goals that I've got around the outside edge of my vision board, I will achieve all of those goals. So what I'm doing is I'm realigning everything. And listen, there's days where, honestly, there's days where I get up, there's not many, but there's days where I get up and I'm just not feeling it, right? And let me be honest, I'm human. Everybody's same. I have days where I feel shit and I just lose a bit of motivation. I can't be fucking bothered every now and again. I get days. I used to have days like that every day a week. Now it might be 2 days a year or something like that, but whatever. I get days like that. So what I do, when I get days where I do feel a bit demotivated and I've lost a bit of energy, I'll go into my office, I'll look at my vision board, and I'll go, right, Craig, fucking man up, right? Look at your purpose. Why are you doing this? You're doing it for you for these reasons. You're doing it for your family for these reasons. You're doing it for your members or your football team or whoever you're doing it for. You're doing it for them. Come on. And look at your plan. You've achieved this every year for the last 19 years. Are you going to let yourself down now, Craig? No, you're not. And if you don't get off your arse today and you don't go and grind it out today and you don't give it 100%, all these goals that you've got set here, you're a step away from them. And that's all it takes for me to get myself back into the groove and back into it. 5 minutes looking at that board motivates me because I will not quit. I will not give up on myself. I will never, ever, ever quit on my family, and I'll never quit on you guys listening to this episode because that's just not in my nature. I do not quit. But every now and again, I need to kick up the arse, and that's what gives it me. So going back to Dan's post, everything I've just shared in this episode is basically what I wanted to put on Dan's post. But I thought, I can't, there's too much. And yeah, Dan is in a fortunate and a great position for his own actions that he's done. He's joined the inner circle. He's got service mates set up and systemised now. He's outsourcing all his low-value tasks to his VA. He's downloaded my profit and pricing calculator and he's looked at the numbers in his business and he's had the right ambition and mindset to increase his prices. So that equals results. It's not a fluke that he's earning more money and working less hours. But Dan's at that point now where something is changing. His business is growing. He's starting to morph. He's getting new knowledge. His mindset's starting to change. And he's got this little void. That's everything I'm sharing in this episode is what Dan needs to do. And you might be there going, God, I wish I could be in Dan's position. Well, you can do. You just join Growth Club and get stuck in like Dan's done. But you might not be in a position where you've got the time and money freedom at the minute. You might be still, like I was, on the hamster wheel being a busy fool. Right. Well, what is going to change in your business unless you change something? Your approach and the way in which you're running your business, I'm not saying it's wrong. If you're a busy fool, I'm not saying it's wrong because it's brought you to where you are now. But unless you take drastic action to get rid of all that chaos that's happening in your business and your life, nothing's going to change. I mean, the definition of insanity is when you're doing the same actions and the same approach over and over again, expecting to get a different result. Well, it's never going to happen. It's like a fly. You look at a fly that's locked inside your house in summer and it's hitting that glass to try and escape. That fly's going bang, 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 hitting that glass. And I'm stood there looking at that fly going, hang on a minute. The casement's open above you. All you've got to do is fly 2 inches further up and fly out, but it doesn't. It just keeps hitting that glass and it's trying to do the same thing again. Well, it's not going to change unless it stops, gets a bit of clarity that what it's doing is not working, has a look up, sees the casements open, and then simply flies out. It's the same in business. So you can achieve all these results. You've just got to take a different approach, and where it starts is getting that clarity, getting that vision, getting that plan, realigning your why, realigning your purpose, getting it all up on a vision board, right? Taking that time out of your business to do that, and that's realigning. It's like a starting point. It's like drawing a line in sand and going, right, what I've done's brought me to where I'm at. It's not going to get me to where I need to be, but let me, before I go 100 mile an hour in that direction and probably take yourself further away from the goal, let me just regroup, let me pull it all together, let me realign everything, and this is exactly how you do it. Now, you will have heard me talking all the time on these podcast episodes, or if you're in our Growth Club or in a Circle member, you'll know this by heart now. And I have this popular phrase which goes like this: new levels bring new devils. Let me say it again. New levels bring new devils. And what I mean by this is, every time you move yourself, whether that's personally or business, to a whole new level, you are going to experience and be presented with new challenges, new obstacles and new hurdles that you've got to get over. I mean, come on, think back to day one when you first set up your business and look how far you've come now to get to the level that you're at. You might have already gone up 10 levels in your business and in your life, but every time you go up, you're presented with new obstacles, new hurdles, and new challenges. Now, you have to understand how these new levels work in terms of pressure, because I call these pressure points. Think about it. Dan is at a point now where he's got his time, he's got his money, he's going to realign everything as we've just gone through on this podcast. He's going to do all that. But then when he pushes on to that next level, whatever that looks like based on his business plan that he's going to pull together, Dan's going to encompass new challenges because he's never been at that level before. And usually when we get to that next level and we're experiencing these challenges, the pressure starts to mount. And then we start to question ourselves. Have I made the right decision on taking that next team on? Have I made that right decision on investing $8,000 into that new website that's now generating me all these leads? Have I made the right decision on systemizing my business and outsourcing it all? Because that means now I've got to take more members of staff on. If I'm going to grow my business, I've got to take more overheads on. I might have to take officers on and all that lot. And all that brings a new level of added pressure. Now, if you don't understand how the pressure points work, every time you go up to a new level, you're going to hit that level and then you're going to start questioning yourself, and that little devil's going to pop up on your shoulder, and that negative self-talk and limiting beliefs are going to start to creep in, and you're going to start to talk yourself out of doing things. Now, I don't want you to get to that next level and not understand what a pressure point is. Because if you understand what a pressure point is and how pressure points work, you'll then feel when that pressure's coming on, but you'll know what to do with it and how to break through that pressure point. Because when you break through that pressure, then guess what's on the other side of that pressure? It's a new level. And all I do in life and business is look at that next level and go, right, my plan is I need to get to that level. I understand that when I get to it or I'm approaching it, I'm going to experience new challenges because I've never been there before. But knowing that I'm going to experience this and identifying the pain and the problems that I'm going to encounter, I'm going to deal with it by doing A, B, and C, and I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to smash through it. And I then know that when I smash through the pressure, because I get pressure, because I'm always moving up different levels. I'm not just staying at the level I'm at. I'm comfortable where I'm at, but I'm not staying there because I'm never going to reach my full potential, am I? So I'm always going up levels. But I know that when I feel that pressure coming on, I don't do what most people do, and that's bounce back down, scale the business down, get back underneath my comfort blanket. It's like game on. Fucking bring it, devils, because I'm going to slay every fucking one of you to get to that next level. Bring it on. And I do. And then the next thing, I'm at that next level. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is all of you, when you go through the process that I've just shared with you on this podcast, including Dan, are going to experience a new level of pressure. To understand how it works, I've got a dedicated cracking podcast, which is episode number 50. So once you've gone through all the other podcasts I've just recommended, and you've done your clarity, your vision, your plan, your why, your purpose, I then, and only then, want you to go and listen to episode number 50. Because I'm going to teach you how to break through them pressure points and speed up your progression to reach your full potential. Because I'm telling you now, I am a fucking juggernaut. And there is nothing that's going to derail this juggernaut. I've got the plan. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. I know the purpose behind why I'm doing it. And that is enough to drive me and keep me at 55-year-old being fit, healthy, mind, body, goals, motivation, inspiration, dedication and passion to get to where I want to be. So episode number 50 is going to teach you that. Now, if you're not already a member of our Growth Club, please consider hitting the link in the show notes and the description and coming joining our Growth Club and being part of our positive community. Quick reminder that, again, in 2 weeks' time, we're opening the doors to my inner circle. Again, if you want to come on the inner circle and you want to come on that Zoom that I'm presenting, where I'm going to explain it all to you, then again, click the link in the description. And finally, if I can ask you, whatever platform you're listening to this episode on now, that could be Spotify, could be our website, could be YouTube, might be Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening to it on, could I please ask you to hit either the subscribe button or the follow button to follow our podcast? Because the more people we can get to hit that subscribe or follow button, the more it's going to push the platform to put our podcast out to more people that need our help. And we need to get the algorithm working. So the more subs and the more follows we get, the more we can push the episode out. And remember, the business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. I'll catch up with you on next week's episode and I'll meet you all at the top. Thank you.